Dhul-Qarnayn, known in Islamic tradition and mentioned in the Qur'an, is one of the most mysterious rulers in ancient history. His name carries two meanings. The first is the two-horned one. The second interpretation suggests the one of two ages, a ruler whose influence stretched across eras. According to Islamic tradition, Dhul-Qarnayn ruled a vast region stretching from the lands near the Indus River all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. He was not a passive king. He traveled constantly across his territories, observing the conditions of his people and responding to injustice wherever he found it. During one of his journeys, he encountered a group of people living between mountain ranges. They came to him with a desperate complaint. They spoke of two destructive tribes known as Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog. These tribes, they said, were raiding their lands, stealing food, violating their security, and spreading corruption. The region described in the Cure and has often been associated by scholars with the area between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea, the Caucasus Mountains. This mountain range stretches almost continuously, with only narrow passes breaking through it. The mountains themselves are known to be rich in iron, a detail that becomes important. Dhul-Qarnayn responded by constructing a massive barrier between two mountains. According to the Quranic account, he used iron and molten material to seal the passage, pushing Gog and Magog back and containing their corruption. It was not a wall built to destroy them, but to restrain them. Some interpretations suggest that after being confined beyond the mountain passes, Gog and Magog later spread across vast lands, into regions that would become parts of Europe and eventually beyond. In Islamic eschatology, Gog and Magog are not merely historical tribes. They are described as a force that will re-emerge near the end of times. Their purpose will be widespread consumption and destruction, draining the earth of its resources, overwhelming societies, and spreading chaos. Not every individual within such societies would embody that role, but from among them, destructive forces would rise, systems driven by greed, exploitation, and domination. When viewed symbolically, some interpret Gog and Magog not as a single ethnicity or nation, but as a recurring pattern in human history, powerful groups that consume land, wealth, minerals, water, and energy without restraint. Looking at the modern world, many observers question global power structures. International institutions, economic alliances, and political elites hold immense influence. They can impose sanctions, restrict trade, determine which nations thrive and which suffer. The concentration of power in small circles of influence raises concerns for many people. In Islamic tradition, Gog and Magog are said to emerge before the Antichrist. Their role is to destabilize the world, to create disorder and moral confusion, preparing humanity psychologically for false saviors. Some interpret this literally. Others see it metaphorically, as cycles of history where corruption and concentrated power create the conditions for greater deception. Throughout the centuries, wars have been fought, alliances formed, nations reshaped. Religions have been demonized. Peoples have been turned against one another. Temples have been destroyed and rebuilt. Political ideologies have risen and fallen. Whether one sees design or coincidence, the pattern is undeniable. Power concentrates, systems grow complex, resources are extracted, and societies become increasingly fragile. The story of Dhul-Qarnayn and Gog and Magog invites a deeper question. Are these events merely ancient history, or are they warnings about human behavior when power is left unchecked? Instead of waiting for a literal Armageddon, perhaps the greater lesson is vigilance. To question corruption, to resist exploitation, to recognize that end times language may describe not just future catastrophe, but recurring moral decline. Dhul-Qarnayn represents restraint, a leader who used strength to protect the vulnerable. Gog and Magog represent unrestrained force, consumption without accountability. The story challenges us not to point fingers at entire peoples or nations, but to examine systems, behaviors, and moral direction. Because in the end, the question is not only when Gog and Magog will return. The question is whether we recognize their pattern when we see it.